Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here, and welcome to the Master Your Time podcast. And wow, what a day! It's been quite a week. We finally had 3,000 books arrive at our printer's warehouse. Yeah, it's been quite a journey over really since January when I sort of just hit my manuscript really seriously. I had this message I just wanted to pour out, and when I have these messages, these things that I just want to teach, it just goes, when the time's right, it just goes bam, out it comes, and I can't stop. I keep on squeezing of what's inside, and more comes out, and we got the manuscript written, and then it went to the artwork and getting that laid out. But anyway, Master Your Time Secrets book is now ready. My goodness, we had delays with the printer. It was supposed to be out really 2 or 3 weeks ago. The printer, they outsourced to a bookbinder. Apparently the bookbinder machine broke. So that took a while to get fixed. So anyway, we are here. And I did do 4 podcasts beforehand. And there's been a big delay between the 4th and the 5th one, only that I just felt best to wait till the book comes out, but it's here. All righty. You can get your own copy. Of course, we're not charging you for it. I'm giving it to you. I want you to have it. All you got to do is just pay for shipping. If you're willing to do that, go to masteryourtimesecrets.com. It's the name of the book, masteryourtimesecrets.com, and just order the book there if you're just willing to pay for shipping. It's $9.97 within Australia. Outside of Australia, it is $19.97 for international. Believe me, it costs us a lot more than that to send it out. But we just want to get it into your hands. We are happy to invest in you if you're able to invest as well. Now, today I want to talk about the power of expectation, because I've been thinking, what do I start teaching? And I did the first 4 episodes because they're the biggest pain points. When I poll into a property manager group, like we do in the IGT Inner Circle, if you're not part of the IGT Inner Circle on Facebook, go there. It is a Facebook group. You need to join as a personal profile, not as a business page or anything like that. Make sure you answer the 3 questions. I know Dennis won't let you in otherwise. Pay attention to the 3 questions, answer those, and you're in. And I was polling into the IGT Inner Circle some time ago, and I said, when it comes to time management, and I listed all of these issues, returning calls, returning emails, dealing with inspections, time blowouts, what came up, 80% of people said they struggle with stopping interruptions. All right. And so that seems to be in the time management realm, in the universe of time management. Stopping interruptions, reducing distractions so you can get your work done is the biggest, certainly in property management. So that's why I focused on those 4 first podcasts around that big pain point. And I've also spent a whole chapter in my book dealing with interruptions. So we've got 25 ways to stop interruptions, reduce distractions, so you can get 2 to 3 times more work done. Because what we've learned is that getting your work done, getting your tasks done, see it like a car. I like to have a car, and in fact, I've got in my hand right now, I've got a little toy car. It's a blue Mustang, one of my sort of favorite cars. Not that I've got one. And just imagine, right, you want to speed up your tasks, you want to get more done. You think, I've just got to speed up how many tasks I do. But there's a problem here, and what you've failed to realize is in front of that car is you're tailgating another car, and that other car dictates your speed. And that other car is called accuracy. So if you try and overtake that car of accuracy with your task speed, and you try and overtake it, which means your task speed now is going faster than your accuracy, well, what's going to happen? You're going to make errors. Those errors are going to stop you in your tracks. They're going to cause 3 to 4 times the amount of time and blowout and stress and conflict. There's a lot of property managers out there that are working part-time, fixing the mistakes of yesterday, trying to work full-time with the full-time property management of today. No wonder why they're stressed. They're still fixing all the blunders of yesterday because their task speed went faster than their accuracy. All righty. So the whole point is we've got to speed up accuracy if we're going to speed up our task speed. To speed up accuracy, well, that's actually our focus. We've got to be able to speed up our focus. And the stop start of interruption stops focus dead in its tracks. That's why we must become masters of stopping interruptions. All righty. So let's move on. What I want to talk about today is the power of expectation. And you can control a lot of issues by putting the time in to giving right expectation up front. And my book is right over that. You'll see that common theme going through, that control comes when you give right expectations. In fact, over 90% of conflict occurs because something happened outside of someone else's expectation. They had a wrong or an indifferent expectation. All righty. And we do that by educating up front. But by educating up front, saying things up front, we can control many things that happen later. All right. Particularly around expectations and people's wrong expectations. Okay. Now, here's the deal. If you're not giving right expectations up front, then the expectations of that other party reigns. They are in control. And so if you're dealing with 100 different landlords, 100 tenants, and 200 different expectations, which are different from yours, you don't put your expectation in first, your agenda first. You take control of all of those other different expectations by exerting your expectation up front. Then you are going to be stressed. You are going to be out of control. Okay, the power of expectation. This is why tenant induction is so important. You know, that you've got to eyeball these tenants, whether it's by Zoom or face-to-face, and let them know this is what's going to happen if you don't pay your rent. If you break your lease, this is what's going to happen. All of those important things that could turn into blow-ups and explosions later on, you educate now so they have a full understanding, and no one can say, well, I didn't know about that later on. You understand the power of tenant induction, but that same principle of educating and inducting up front to avoid problems later on extends to just about every part of property management. And today, now those things are covered in my book, okay? But what I want to talk about today is controlling phone calls and emails using that same principle, okay? Now, you know, property managers are interrupted all the time by phone calls, by emails, by their own, oh, I've got to get to these emails, you know, that, you know, you feel that weight of anxiety building on your back, you know, as you know that those emails building up in your inbox, and you feel pressure, you feel anxiety, you know, and you won't want to relieve all of that, okay? And so what we've got to do is understand now, firstly, if I was back in property management today, I'd be saying to people, please don't message me on Facebook Marketplace, or not Facebook Marketplace, sorry, Facebook Messenger. Don't message me on any other channels. These are my channels that you can communicate with me. Email or phone. Now, I'm not saying you to do that. What I'm saying is that there are far too many communication channels these days that give you a sense of being overwhelmed. If tenants are firing on all of those channels at you, all right, I would say to people, you can message me on an SMS text, you can phone me, or you can email me, but that's it. Now, but what I'm going to talk about today is controlling phone calls and controlling emails by the power of expectation. So if we've now corralled people's communication and the way they communicate into those two channels, we can put gates on those two communication portals that give people the right expectation at the point that they want to communicate with you, so you can then answer back in a timely manner that's within your agenda, not theirs, and they'll now need to know that their query or whatever they have now complies to your agenda. So you're taking the pressure, property managers, off your back. All right. And so there's too many property managers out there that are overwhelmed by the amount of calls, overwhelmed by the amount of emails, and you need to take control. All right. So what I'm going to do now, for the people that are watching the video and for the people that are listening, I'm simply going to share screen now to a couple of pages in my book, Master Your Time Secrets. Now, this is the actual ebook version. Of course, you get this same version in the paper book as well. And what I'm looking at is Secret 39 and Secret 40. And they're dealing with controlling phone calls with using a voice message, a proper voice message, and also controlling emails by using an autoresponder. So we're going to tackle these things one at a time. So we'll talk about calls first, then we're going to talk about emails. Okay. Now, firstly, understand that if you've got the ability now, I don't know whether you still got people calling your receptionist and they put you through, speak to you. For me, far out, you know, if I was back in property management today, people are only going to have my mobile number. That's it. They're not going to have an office number to call me on, because I can control so much better if they're coming into one channel, not two. All right. Now, of course, if you are doing it old school way and people call an office number and the receptionist puts it through to you, well, now you've got a message bank on your desk phone as well that this same principle applies to. But no doubt with your desk phone and your mobile phone, we know with a mobile phone, it takes seconds to change a message. If you don't know how to change a message, work it out. All right. If you've got an iPhone or an Android or whatever, they're very, very easy to change a message, and you can change it obviously within seconds or however it longs to say something on there to change a message. Okay. The whole point is that you control your calls coming in and letting people know how you're going to deal with their call up front, so they know. And then, of course, their expectations are now adjusted to your agenda. That's the whole point here. By leaving a fresh message. And by leaving a fresh message, you need to let people know. And if you're doing it first thing in the morning, hi, today is, I'll just follow this script here we've got on the page. Again, if you want the book, go to masteryourtimesecrets.com, just pay shipping. And this is on page 162, which is secret 39. And I'm just reading straight from the script. I'm not reading the whole chapter or the whole secret. And it's just, this is what you can do with a fresh voice message. Hi, today is Thursday, 12th of May, and I'll be unavailable 3 to 1 p.m. today. Please leave your name, your number, and a brief message, and I'll call you back before 5 p.m. And alternatively, please email me on, put in an email address if that's an emergency, or if it's an emergency, or if it cannot wait, please call me on and put an emergency number in there if you want to. All righty. But just putting the control, and you can say, well, Darren, it's a little bit blunt. Well, fluff up the words or whatever. But you see the point here is we're letting people know up front. We're telling them, hey, today is such and such date, so they can see it's fresh and relevant. Relevance is really, really important. It's not just beep. Hi, I'm away from my desk at the moment. Please leave a message. Beep. We don't do that, people, all right? People don't want to hear that sort of thing. If they hear that, they think this is an outdated message. What the hell is going to happen to my query now? I'm not leaving it. I'm going to try you on other channels. Okay, so by doing that, you're taking control of their sense of urgency by letting them know, hey, today's date is, so they can see, wow, you're on here today. And they're very much more inclined now to comply by your message, to leave their name, leave their number, and a brief message. And you've told them when you're going to be able to get back to them. Now, of course, the point is, if you say you're going to get back to them by 5 p.m. today, then you do that, because otherwise you're dealing with new problems now, which is broken promises. Okay? Don't break promises you can't keep. So make sure you give a reasonable expectation of when you're going to, it could be 12 noon the next day. All right. So of course, say if it's an emergency, I'll get back as soon as I can, but you're putting grace on yourself. You're taking the weight of anxiety off your shoulders. All right. And placing into a fresh message. That extra 30 seconds that you do on that message bank in the morning is going to control the phone gate for the whole day. All right. Okay. Let's now move to the second one, which is, okay, we talked about phone calls, putting a gate, putting how you're going to deal with it, how you're going to control their query so they have full expectations up front, and it adjusts their expectations to yours, your agenda. Okay, your agenda rules. If your agenda is not in place, it'll be someone else's agenda. I promise you. If you're already always going by someone else's agenda, you are going to be stressed. You're going to have a feeling of out of control. You want to be in control. You want to feel great. All right. This is what the power of expectation does, is it aligns people with their expectations to your agenda. That's what it does. Okay, moving on. Now, controlling using an email autoresponder. Commonly when I train this one, oh my goodness me, some people want to fight me. Darren, that's unprofessional, giving an email autoresponder. Or, Darren, we tried that and it didn't work. We're going to talk about why it didn't work for them, because when I find out the reason why it didn't work, well, It's a dumb one. All right. We're going to talk about that. But understand is that when people email you, there are some wrong things going on in your audience mind. Your tenants, your landlords have a wrong issue going on in their head. It's really, really understand. And I'm going to just divert for a second. So, for example, this is an analogy. You will understand this is that when owners have a vacant property, all right, see, before it became vacant, you were managing their property or whatever, they were in peace of mind land. All right. They were settled. They were happy. They were tranquil. Everything's just humming along really nicely. Their rent's being paid. They don't need to stress that their mortgage isn't being paid. But suddenly you've given them a notice to say the tenant will be leaving. And now you need to find a new tenant. And let's say the property becomes vacant. Well, now they are in total stress land because they have to pay for their extra mortgage. They're really stressed out. Their anxiety's gone through the roof. And if you are not regularly communicating at that time with how many applications you're getting, how many people you're showing through, how many applications you've rejected, regular updates at least twice a week, they will automatically assume that you don't care about their burden, and you are automatically, in their mind, sitting on your hands, ignoring them and doing nothing. Now, we know that's not true, right? But if you're not communicating exactly what that activity is that you're doing, they will automatically default to a point they think you're negligent. All right? That's why you must adequately and regularly communicate when a property is vacant because they're stressed out. You must recognize that in them and answer that, show that you care, have a sense of urgency there, and of course, then re-rent the property as soon as you can. Okay, so that's the analogy. It's a wrong analogy. It's a wrong image they have of you that you're doing nothing and sitting in your hands, but nevertheless, that is the automatic default in their mind. Okay, so when someone sends you an email, particularly an owner or a tenant, they've obviously got an issue. There's something, some trouble, or something they want questions, or something urgent. They email it through to you. Somehow they forget you're a busy property manager out on the road doing inspections. They think you're sitting there just looking at the keyboard, looking at the screen, doing work, and suddenly, ding dong, their email arrives and, oh, Mr. Smith has sent me a message. I will get right onto it now. That's what they think is going on, and it's wrong. Okay, so we've got to stop that automatic default wrong expectation by putting in autoresponders. Now, the people out there that think only autoresponders are unprofessional, no, they're not. I don't know how many times that I've sent in the past an email to my property manager. Promptly I get an autoresponder which says, hey, look, I'm not able to take your email at the moment, but they've respected me by telling me how my inquiry is going to be handled. They didn't give me silence. We don't give silence, people. It's silence that gets you into trouble, because now their expectation continues. Does that make sense? All right, we can't give silence, because then they have the wrong expectations, and that hasn't been fixed. We want to fix it with an autoresponder. Okay, so autoresponders aren't just for when you're sick or when you're away or anything like that. Have them on 24/7. Okay, let's have a look at the message that you can put. Again, it's actually on page 166 in the book, and it's secret number 40. All right, and I've got a sample script in there. Now, some people say, oh, your words are a bit blunt, Darren. We'll change them, for crying out loud. You just understand that what we're trying to say here, and you say the same thing in your words. But okay, so here's a script. The job of property management is a busy one, and throughout the day, I'm constantly away from my desk, traveling to inspections and appointments. Please be assured we will attend to your email within 24 hours. And if it's an emergency and cannot wait, please call and add a phone number. If you want to put a few more fluffy words in, go for it. All right, you're getting the point here. Now, the officers that I've worked with, that when I was training this, said, Darren, it didn't work. When I actually found out what was happening, well, what didn't work was the people, the property managers that had that as their autoresponder weren't getting back within the promised 24 hours or whatever promise was given. The autoresponder wasn't the problem. It was the broken promise that was the problem. Okay, so let's not be untrue to ourselves by breaking promises. You've got to stay with your promise and make sure you give a reasonable time frame so you know that you can do it. Don't put a rod on your back. All right. So rounding this up, guys, look, I just want to give a quick shout out to in the book, under chapter 3, we actually talk about 25 ways to stop interruptions. One of those is using TAPI, T-A-P-I. Now, if you haven't checked it out, they have a program that handles tenant inquiries using artificial intelligence. Okay, it's really good. I've actually seen it for myself, and as an old school property manager, when I did the demo, when Taylor showed me, I was so blown away. Now, Taylor's actually from Texas, and he's living in Australia at the moment. We're working with TAPI, and Taylor, when he showed me that, I couldn't see something that was was more relevant than this for a property manager for today. And all I could think was, I wish I had this when I was a property manager. I wish I had this as a property manager, because the way it handles tenant repair inquiries is amazing. I want you to see it for yourself. Okay, you be the judge. I was amazed. I'm not just saying that. I was really blown away. And I just said, Taylor, you guys have got something amazing here, which is a game changer. And that was the words I used. So go and check it out for yourself. TAPI, TAPI HQ. So tapihq.com. That'll take you to the portal where you can have a demo for yourself, have a look at it. They've also got finance options for owners when it comes to paying for big ticket repairs like hot water cylinders or services or new air conditioners or whatever. They've got some great finance options where the owner can actually pay off that stuff over a 12-month period. Just ask about that too. But what I talked to you about firstly was a tenant concierge. All right, ask about tenant concierge. Just mention that you heard it in this podcast as well, so those boys know that I am promoting them. Of course, they are sponsors as well, but nonetheless, really, really impressed with what TAPI can do and change your life, save you so much time. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that. Get the book. All right. But Darren, you're selling the book. No, I'm not. It's free. It doesn't get any cheaper than free. Just pay for shipping, all right? Just invest in yourself by paying $9.97. Look, and here is something I say as well. Because if I sent you that book and I paid for shipping, you know what would happen? You'd probably do nothing with it. Because when you pay no value, you see no value. When you pay something, you pay attention. When you pay lots more, you pay lots of attention, okay? So don't do yourself a disservice by thinking, well, it's free and I've got to pay for shipping. No. If you didn't pay for shipping, you probably wouldn't even look at it. All right. And it's better off in someone else's hands than yours. Okay. Because there's too many books that sit on a shelf that never get looked at. This book is a game changer. Make sure you get it. masteryourtimesecrets.com. Anyway, great to connect, everyone. Take care. I'll see you in the next podcast episode.